proms this weekend and what you need to know.
Today is the 10-year anniversary of the Flint water crisis.
And we will look into the lasting changes the tragedy has left on Flint. DTV News starts right now.
Ten years ago today, the Flint emergency manager made the choice to switch the city's water source to the Flint River. This choice led to over a decade of chaos and distrust of Flint water.
Throughout that decade, the government lied to the people of Flint with no criminal convictions. A $600 million court settlement was awarded to the people of Flint, and still no money has been diverted.
The lead water made its way into baby bottles, bathtubs, and schools, poisoning the children of Flint and leaving them with long-lasting health problems. 12 people lost their lives to the crisis after contracting Legionnaire's disease.
DTV News has been covering the crisis for the past decade. You can check out our website for stories, articles, and more. All of our coverage, both past and present, can be found on our website, dtvnews.org. We will be updating our social media and website with other stories covering the anniversary. So be sure to check dtvnews.org for all the latest on the crisis.
The DHS prom is just 2 days away. It'll be this Saturday, the 27th, at the Lafayette Grand in Pontiac. Buses will leave the high school at 5 p.m. sharp. They will head home at 10 and arrive back at DHS around 11 that night. You will need your prom ticket and photo ID to board the bus. Have a fun and safe prom, Davison. Yesterday, students in the DHS automotive class were treated to a pleasant surprise, a brand new Ford Mustang. Ford Milnes donated the $55,000 car to Mr. Mikulik and his class so that the students would be able to learn their craft on a modern car.
We came across some vehicles as Ford Motor Company that could be donated to high school automotive programs. And of course, Andy was one of the first people that I thought of, so I reached out to him.
I got a phone call from Brian Wright, who's here today too. He's our Ford training rep. And he said, hey, Andy, he says, basically, what do you think about getting a brand new car? And I thought he was kidding at first. And he says, well, how about a Mustang? I was like, yeah, okay, Brian, right. And he says, no, seriously, I think I can get you one. I said, well, let's do it.
It gives an opportunity to learn the new technology. I mean, it's always changing, so I think that's the biggest thing.
Today, students had the opportunity to explore college and career opportunities at the DHS Career Fair. Businesses, colleges, universities, and trade schools from across Michigan came to Davison today to talk to students about what to do after high school. Students were also able to walk out of the gym with lanyards, pennants, water bottles, and even popcorn. Big thanks to all the businesses that came out to the DHS Career Fair today.
DHS's instrumental music department is headed to a state festival this week. The string orchestra will perform at 5:20 p.m. tonight, and the symphony orchestra will perform later around 7:50. Performances will continue with the concert band at 5:55 tomorrow night, and the wind ensemble soon after at 8:25. All performances are at Imlay City High School. Good luck and have fun.
Earth Week is still going on. Today was Thrifted Thursday. The day to show off all of our thrifted swag, and then tomorrow is Animal Print Day, as well as the third annual scavenger hunt. This will take place with the groups given to you by your science teachers. During your science hour, have fun with your awesome outfits.
The National Technical Honor Society will be having a meeting tomorrow from 2:30 to 3:30 in the Media Center. Candidates must be a secondary or post-secondary student participating in a CTE program, pathway, or major, or coursework. You must have a 3.0 unweighted GPA in your CTE classes. There's a form to apply for a membership in the Career Center. Make sure to show up.
Coming up in sports, Antonio has the highlights from boys lacrosse's W last night.
Plus, some thunderstorms are headed our way. Tyler breaks down this weekend's forecast.
Being outside brings a happy feeling to everyone, and it makes you feel nice and relaxed. Nature makes you happy, and going outside gives you a nice experience for you in the fresh air. Being outside gives you peaceful energy. Nature will always be there to make you feel grateful and powerful. Live healthy, be healthy, go outside.
We have a lot to get to today. Let's start off with the guys lacrosse team. Tuesday night, they were back at home to face off the Bobcats of Bay City. Both teams had one win going to the game, so Davidson was hoping to get another one to win the column. John Glenn exploded in the first half, going to the locker room up 5-2 over the hometown Cards. But if you think that's the end of the story for Davidson, you'd be wrong. After an early goal in the second half from John Glenn, the score was 6-2. Davidson flew their way back into the game in the second half, tying it at 6 apiece with just a few minutes in regulation, which set the game into overtime. Davidson got the ball and scored quick in the sudden death overtime to take home the W. The girls lacrosse team also faced off Tuesday before the boys game at home. They were taking on the number 1 team in SVL, Saginaw Heritage. The girls started the game off with a 1-1 tie, but the Hawks flew and the Cards could not catch up. The Davidson girls ended up losing the game at home with the final score 10-4. The record dropped 3-5-1, and they'll face off against them next week. The girls tennis team also faced off against Saginaw Heritage, and the Cards had a similar outcome. Davidson lost 6-2 against the Hawks. The double teams of Sydney Penduran and Savannah Duncan, as well as Michaela Fultz and Ariana McCain, each won their second match in a row and are looking to extend their streak on Thursday against Grand Blanc. Good luck against the Bobcats. The SVL Scholar Athletes and Teacher of the Year were announced yesterday. The Scholar Athletes were Paige McCardle and Sawyer Glennie, and the SVL Teacher of the Year went to Mrs. Sturdy. Congratulations to everyone. There are plenty of sports coming up tonight. Starting off the afternoon, the girls tennis team has a home game against Grand Blanc Bobcats at 4. Both the baseball and softball teams have games against Bay City Central today, also at 4. You can catch the baseball team at home while the softball team will be in the Wolves territory. Finally, ending the night, the boys lacrosse team has an SVL game at home with the face-off set for 7:30 against Bay City Western. Hey Tyler, the boys lacrosse team is looking for their second straight win at home tonight. How does it look outside at the Cardinal Stadium for tonight?
Antonio, the Cardinal Stadium's looking great to head to tonight. Let's take a look at the 4-day forecast for this week. We're going to be seeing today that it's a high of 56 and a low of 32, and continuing throughout the week. Tomorrow is going to be mostly sunny with a high of 64 and a low of 53. And going into the rest of the weekend, we're going to be seeing that on Saturday there's going to be some AM rain, and on Sunday there's going to be some PM thunderstorms at 3 p.m. for the prom day. So let's take a look at our radar. We're going to be seeing just the remnants of the storm that hit over at Kansas City, and this will be hitting us on Sunday. Now let's take a look outside. We're going to be seeing all this sunny skies, beautiful, and all the shining off the cars. And currently it is obviously clear outside. The temp is 48 degrees. The humidity is at 42.1. Wind is going east-northeast at 9 miles per hour. I'll send things back to the desk with the last story for the undrinkable.
10 years is a long time, and the Flint water crisis will forever be a part of what the city of Flint is today. Through every single rocky moment, the people have persevered.
What happened to Flint has opened eyes to drinking water issues around the world. This is the story of the lasting changes seen in the city today.
I think the lasting effects of the water crisis is the lack of trust that people have in government. And I don't know how or when that's going to change.
No peace! No pipe! No peace! No pipe! No peace! No peace!
Dawn Jones, a journalist at WJRT in Flint, reported and lived through the water crisis. Watching her community suffer felt surreal.
When I look back on that period, it's almost like, did that happen? And I think back to all of the bottled water all of the fear that people had drinking the water, bathing in the water. And you never imagined that something like that could happen in the community where you live. So when you look back on it, it's almost like you can't believe that happened.
But it did happen, and it drastically changed how people live.
I remember reporting on stories where people were lined up, and we're talking for blocks and blocks to get free bottled water. And when you go back and you look at the optic of that, it almost looked like something that you would see in a third world country, but not here in the U.S. and especially not here in the city of Flint, where I live in the state of Michigan.
Poisoning the water supply for 100,000 people was something no one was ready for.
You know, I guess there was no playbook for being poisoned, so we're writing it as we go.
After years of government denial, water bottles, faucet filters, pipe replacement, government programs, and most of all, activism, Flint is now an example for cities across the country on how to deal with lead, both good and bad.
And when you look around the country, there are other cities like Flint. We don't know where the next city will be or what the next city will be, but there are other cities with aging infrastructure who may find themselves in this similar situation.
Chicago, Cleveland, New York, and even Benton Harbor, which is only 170 miles away from Flint, are all experiencing Flint-like problems. And according to the National Resources Defense Council, tens of millions of Americans are at risk of drinking lead-contaminated tap water. And other places are now having the same problem.
If it happens again, in a city 1,000 miles away from here, we hear about it. We're going to be triggered as a community because we know what that's like. We know what it's like to rely on bottled water. We know what it's like not to trust that we can safely shower or bathe or brush our teeth.
To address the issue, President Biden signed the Biden-Harris Lead Pipe and Paint Action Plan in 2021. Through this act, President Biden promised to replace every lead pipe in America before 2031.
Every person in this country deserves to be able to turn on a faucet and have clean drinking water. And through the infrastructure law, we're making historic investments to make sure that they can.
But that's easier said than done. After $100 million and years of replacing pipes throughout Flint, the city still has 5% of lead service lines still in use. When replacing service lines, you're replacing the pipes that connect a city's water main in the street all the way up to the individual homes. From there on, any lead inside the home is the homeowner's responsibility. To replace every lead service line in the country, the government has only promised $15 billion, but other estimates say it could take anywhere from $30 to $60 billion. Despite the hardships and work that still needs to be done, the community continues to pull together. Programs have been developed to connect families to health services, access to healthy foods to lessen the effect of lead poisoning, and help continue lifting families out of the ongoing poverty cycle.
Yeah, this bad thing happened in Flint, but so many community agencies, moms and dads, and our kids have stepped up and said, we are not going to be defined by this crisis. We are going to be defined by what we do next. And in that sense, yes, what happened in Flint, the water crisis, is the story of this crime that was committed against our most vulnerable folks, but it's also this amazing story of resistance. It is an amazing story of how a community can come together to ensure that not just our kids have the brightest future possible, but that we make an impact across the nation.
Joining us now is Caleb Hirsch, who reported on the lasting changes the city of Flint is facing. So Caleb, the initial switch to the Flint River was 10 years ago today. Can you go into depth on some of the lasting changes they're still facing?
So, the issue started 10 years ago today, but it's still going on in Flint right now. There's still a few communities, as I mentioned in the story, there's still a few communities that their neighborhoods still have lead service lines. And even then, when those lead service lines are replaced, the government is responsible only for the service lines that are in the street that pump the water from the water plant into the street and then into the homes. Those can be replaced, but the homes themselves still have those lead pipes. So then when it's pumped from the street into the homes, the homeowners can still get that lead water,
And so it's just a vicious cycle of poverty, as we talked about Tuesday. A lot of people a lot of people aren't able to sell their houses. Nobody really wants to buy a house in Flint right now because of everything that happened. So it's just a vicious cycle of people can't get out of Flint, and they don't really know what to do while in Flint because they're also losing that money for paying extra for their water bill and everything. So it's just the people of Flint are still dealing with a lot of the issues that started 10 years ago today, and I think that is just kind of eye-opening.
So Caleb, what would you say is the part of the story that stuck with you the most throughout this?
I would say the part that stuck with me the most is definitely being able to go into those communities and see the people. And I mean, we went and filmed in downtown Flint for a good amount of the story, and just seeing those people pass by and they were like just talk to them and hearing their stories, it was very emotional. And seeing that they are still dealing with those issues. I mean, we talked about these people are still in this poverty cycle. These people don't trust their water even if they're told the water's safe. I mean, if I had that happen to me and I was just told all of a sudden, hey, your water's good, even then the trust isn't there between the people and the government. And that, I don't know how or when they could repair that relationship.
Thank you for joining us, Caleb. You can watch the full special Undrinkable 3 Resilience now.
There are also links to resources and other web extras on our website, dtvnews.org. You can find the tab for them on our homepage for the special. Have a good rest of your day, Davidson.